warm welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis. Today is 1st of May and this entire video series is brought to you by LawSikho. With this new month, I hope you get an opportunity to work on yourself really hard and to make your preparation more comprehensive. So with this, let's dive into the TNA for today. The agenda for the same can be seen right here on your screens. The first segment that we cater to is the editorial segment. For today, we've chosen an editorial of The Hindu which is titled as The Erosion of Hard-Won Labor Rights. Essentially, इस पूरे आर्टिकल में हम बात करेंगे about the evolution of the Labor Day or the May Day and what has been the global trends or what has been particularly the position of India in matters of regulation of working hours. We also see some of the challenges that we face in this particular regard. Now, the second segment is the news update segment, where we discuss important national as well as international news. This is relevant in those of your exams where current affairs is a part of your syllabus. And thirdly, we deal with the legal news update segment, where we take up important legal developments from the world of law. Today, we have two Supreme Court updates. So with this, let's dive into the TNA for today. The first segment, of course, is the editorial segment. The title for the same is The Erosion of the Hard-Won Labor Rights. Now, the structure of the same is as follows. देखिए पहले तो हम बात करेंगे as to how this day, the Labor Day or the May Day, it came about. Then we talk about the regulation of working hours, and thirdly we talk about the problems that arise in the process. So as far as the evolution of this day is concerned, it dates back to 1886. तो देखिए 1 मई 1886 को शिकागो यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स उसमें एक डेवलपमेंट हुई. वहाँ पे कुछ लेबर यूनियन ने प्रोटेस्ट किया एंड दीज लेबर यूनियंस दे वर डिमांडिंग सर्टेन लेबर रिफॉर्म्स. इसकी एक डिमांड जो पर्टिनेंट डिमांड थी दैट वाज टू फिक्स द वर्किंग आवर्स टू 8 आवर्स अ डे. एंड ऑफ कोर्स जैसा कि होता है बहुत सारे प्रोटेस्ट में इट वाज रिटेलिएटेड बाय पुलिस ब्रूटैलिटी. But क्योंकि these labor unions, they had strength in their cause, so they fought for it. 4 days later, the labor anarchists, they felt a need for having a meeting. Meeting initially was peaceful, however, it later turned violent because a bomb, it was dropped in one of the police stations, and as a result, the police in retaliation opened fire, and then the entire peaceful protest, it soon turned into a violent confrontation between the police on the one side and the labor unions on the other. And इसी के रिस्पेक्ट में फिर 3 साल बाद में 1889 में इंटरनेशनल सोशलिस्ट कॉन्फ्रेंस it declared that in order to commemorate the Haymarket Square affair, because ये जो पूरा हुआ था affair जहाँ पे कि peaceful protest later turned out to be a confrontation जो कि violent थी, it happened in the Haymarket Square. तो इसी को कमेमोरेट करने के लिए 1889 में इंटरनेशनल सोशलिस्ट कॉन्फ्रेंस इट डिक्लेयर्ड दैट May 1st it would be an international holiday for labor or May Day. Also, later on in 1919, the ILO, which is the International Labour Organization, it adopted a convention, the title of which was Hours of Work Industry Convention. इस convention ने essentially क्या किया कि जो number of working hours थे उनको it limited it to 8 hours a day, and अगर हम weekly working hours की बात करें तो it limited it to 48 hours. Now, British India in the year 1921 on 14th of July it ratified this particular convention. So India का रोल एक तो यहाँ पे आता है शुरू में preliminary तौर पे, तो जब क्योंकि we were governed by the British regime, तो therefore the British India it ratified this particular convention. उसके बाद भी डेकेड्स लेटर ऑल्सो अभी भी काफ़ी सारे लेबर यूनियंस हैं वो टाइम एंड अगेन एजिटेट करते रहते हैं फॉर लेबर रिफॉर्म्स. कुछ यूरोपियन ऐसी कंट्रीज हैं जैसे कि स्विट्जरलैंड, डेनमार्क, नीदरलैंड्स, वहाँ पे फिर भी काफ़ी हद तक प्रोग्रेस देखी गई है इन टर्म्स ऑफ हैविंग लेबर फ्रेंडली वर्किंग आवर्स. Now let's discuss the global trend or the Indian trend in regulating the working hours. तो देखिए देयर इज अ थ्योरी ऑफ इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट जो कि ये कहती है कि जैसे ही टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट होगा ऐसा हमने सोचा था, तो उससे क्या होगा कि लेबर राइट्स को काफ़ी एनकरेजमेंट मिलेगी. बाय बिकॉज टेक्निकल डेवलपमेंट से जो है द वर्किंग आवर्स वो काफ़ी कम हो जाएंगे एंड लीजर टाइम जो अवेलेबल होगा लेबर्स को वो काफ़ी बढ़ जाएगा. बट contrary to what we thought and what it should have been, the itch to increase working hours by any means necessary, it is one that remains to be combated. अब इसमें जैसे कि हम एग्जाम्पल है इंडिया का, तो कोविड के दौरान क्या हुआ, 2 स्टेट्स ऑफ द इंडियन टेरिटरी और द कंट्री ऑफ इंडिया, द स्टेट ऑफ तमिलनाडु एंड द स्टेट ऑफ कर्नाटका, उन्होंने क्या किया, दे ब्रॉट सर्टेन अमेंडमेंट्स इन द फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट ऑफ 1948 एंड द स्टेट ऑफ तमिलनाडु इट टुक द रूट ऑफ ऑर्डिनेंस। एंड इसमें हुआ क्या था कि द तमिलनाडु गवर्नमेंट की जो अमेंडमेंट थी विच इट वांटेड टू ब्रिंग फोर्थ, it could not come forth. Why? Because there was a lot of opposition. But Karnataka government, it passed this particular amendment. Now, before we proceed further this article, I would really want all of us to have an understanding of, what were the amendments that were proposed by the Karnataka government. So, देखिए, in the month of February this year, the government of Karnataka or the Karnataka legislature, it passed an amendment bill. The title of the same was Factories Karnataka Amendment Bill of 2023. इससे इसका पर्पस क्या था, टू ब्रिंग अबाउट सर्टेन अमेंडमेंट्स टू दिस पर्टिकुलर एक्ट विच इज द फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट ऑफ 1948। अब इसमें अगर हम अमेंडमेंट्स की बात करें तो पहली अमेंडमेंट ये थी कि इसने गवर्नमेंट, जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है, उसको एम्पावर कर दिया कि आप जो वर्किंग आवर्स हैं उनको 9 से 12 तक बढ़ा सकते हैं। बट आपको ओवरऑल प्रोवाइडेड क्या है कि जो वर्किंग वीकली आवर्स है उसको यू हैव टू कीप इट टू अंडर 48 आवर्स। Secondly, as per Section 59 of the Factories Act, a worker shall be entitled to overtime wages. अब वो overtime wages उसको कब मिलेंगे, अगर worker works in 3 of these eventualities. पहला तो if they work for more than 9 hours a day or more than 48 hours a week, working 6 days in a week, or more than 10 hours a day or more than 48 hours a week when working for 5 days in a week. And thirdly, for more than 11.5 hours a day, working 4 days a week, or where they work on paid leave basis. अब इसमें एक अमेंडमेंट और प्रपोज करा था। पहले क्या था कि women they were not allowed to work within the post evening and before early morning, जैसे कि post 7 p.m. and early 6 a.m. बट इस अमेंडमेंट के बाद women were allowed to, now they are allowed to work in factories प्रोवाइडेड ऑफ कोर्स एक तो उनका कंसेंट हो, एंड सेकेंडली जो सेफ्टी के कंसर्न है वो एड्रेस करे जाए थॉरली। और वो कैसे एड्रेस करे जाए, जो फैक्ट्री का इकोसिस्टम है उसमें सेफ्टी के रिगार्डिंग कोई, और देयर आर सर्टेन मेजर्स इन प्लेस दैट हैव बीन डन और इम्प्लीमेंटेड. So these were the amendments which were proposed or which were brought forth by the government of Karnataka. Now see, as far as the global trends are concerned, we take example of 2 countries, Bangladesh and Vietnam. बांग्लादेश में जो स्पेसिफिकली गारमेंट इंडस्ट्री है वहाँ पर लेबर राइट्स की जो एक्सप्लॉयटेशन है दैट इज द मैक्सिमम, एंड वियतनाम में दिस सिचुएशन इज देयर इन द इंडस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और द एंटायर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मार्केट. अगर हम ग्लोबल एग्जाम्पल देखें इंडेक्सेस के, सो ग्लोबल राइट्स इंडेक्स विच इज लॉन्च्ड बाय द इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड यूनियन कॉन्फेडरेशन, Bangladesh is ranked as one of the worst top 10 countries when it comes to labor rights, and Vietnam is also in the same league of nations. Now see, as far as India is concerned, अभी जो ट्रेंड देखा जा रहा है, देखिए, under the pretext of ease of doing business, regional governments they offer many subsidies and exemptions to attract global and domestic investment. अब जो companies है, specifically global companies, multinational companies, they are calling or making demands for having not just quantitative subsidies but qualitative subsidies in place, and they prefer no union at all or weak unions in an industrially peaceful context जहाँ पे कि उनको आसानी से cheap laborers मिल जाए जो कि skilled हो but उनको पे कम करना पड़े, and उनके rights का भी उतना ध्यान ना रखना पड़े, because of course labor unions are not strong, they don't prefer that, and they prefer या तो having no labor unions at all in place, or those which are weak and not dominating in a dominating position. Now, while India bears the cost of skilling the workers, multinational corporations they reap the benefit out of the laborers or out of the laborers. This low road to development, which is employed by most capitalist companies, it is leading to the race to the bottom. We see one state after another amending the labor laws, despite the fact that these companies they do not help significantly reduce the unemployment rates. Why? Because they mostly provide high-skilled jobs, which lead to jobless growth. Now, the typical demand that we can see it is to increase the number of hours of work a day while adhering to the 8-hour day rule. For instance, जैसे कर्नाटका की अगर हम बात करें, हमने देखा already amendments when we were going through it, that it is increase the number of working hours a day including rest period, to 12, while complying with the weekly threshold of 48 hours. Now let's understand as to what are the challenges ahead, the problems that we face. So see, by extending the hours of work and ensuring job insecurity, what we are doing essentially, जो hard won labor rights थे जिसके लिए the people in the 18th, the 19th and the subsequent centuries, they fought for these rights, we are actually regressing. We are getting back to the 19th century position because what we're doing, we're increasing the work hours, job securities, insecurity is increasing. Now, due to lack of political unity as well as the trade union cooperation, save for some instances, states they are able to change the labor law without much of the opposition, and the move of the Karnataka government close to the May Day, it is in fact disheartening as per the author of this particular article. And he further states that you know how ironic it is that companies they have the HR department which preach about the work-life balance, but in substance there is no or little to do change, and the delay in the implementation of the new labor law or new labor codes, it is also a concern, and trade unions therefore they have a lot to be concerned about this May Day. And with this, we dive into the next segment for today, which is the segment of national news. The first update is with respect to Razorpay joining hands with ONDC, which is Open Network for Digital Commerce. And this is done by to offer payment reconciliation services. See, Razorpay, which is a fintech payments and banking platform for business, it said that it is going to join the Open Network for Digital Commerce, which is a non-profit company set up by the Department for Promotion of Industry and International Trade. This is an alternative to internet shopping. Now, through the open network approach, buyers and seller they need not be on the same platform for the purpose of conducting business transaction. Now, this is going to enable small and medium businesses to access a larger buyer universe. Moving on to the next update, this is with respect to India and UK creating India-UK Net Zero Innovation Virtual Center. UK has emerged as India's second largest international research and innovation partner. India-UK Net Zero Innovation Virtual Center, it is going to provide a platform to bring stakeholders from both of these countries together in order to work in focus areas including decarbonization of manufacturing process and transport systems and green hydrogen as renewable resources or sources. Now moving on to the next update, which is coming from the state of Assam, Dima Hasao Insurgent Group, it has signed a peace pact with Assam and the center. The Dima Hasao Liberation Army representatives, they've recently signed this particular pact to give up violence, surrender, including the surrender of arms and ammunition, disband their armed organization, vacate all camps which are occupied by the army cadres, and join the mainstream. As a result of this particular agreement, more than 168 armed cadres of the Liberation Army, they've already surrendered with their weapon and joined the mainstream. And also with this pact, there are no more insurgent groups in the state of Assam. So this indeed is an important development. Moving on to the next update, which is with respect to Ayushman Bharat Diwas. It is celebrated on 30th of April, which is yesterday. The day it is observed to promote Ayushman Bharat Yojana values and represents the achievement of the Indian government's aim, which are aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The Ayushman Bharat Yojana, it was initiated in 2018, and this was done in order to give healthcare coverage to all Indians who were not in a position to afford basic medical services. 68th edition of the Filmfare Award, it was recently concluded in the Geo World Convention Center, while the awards were distributed in collaboration with Maharashtra Tourism. Gangubai Kathiawadi, the movie, it won the Best Film Award, while Badhai Do, it won the Critics' Choice. Sanjay Leela Bhansali won in the category of Best Director for directing Gangubai. The Best Actor and Best Actress awards, they were given to Rajkumar Rao and Alia Bhatt respectively. Moving on to the next update, this is coming from the state of Jharkhand. The Chief Minister of the state of Jharkhand, Hemant Soren, he has launched the state's first air ambulance service from Ranchi to the other parts of the country. He flagged off the service for which an aircraft of the Redbird Airways it has been taken on lease, an official from the Civil Aviation of the department stated. The service will be provided at rates between 3 to 8 lakhs for places such as Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Varanasi, Lucknow, and Tirupati. Moving on to the next update, this is with respect to 3-day Heritage Festival at Saligao, which is in Goa. This Heritage Festival for the year 2023, it aims to dive deep into the concept of Goa's heritage and culture, and it explores Goan art forms. It shed lights on the fact that Goa's heritage, it goes beyond the iconic forts and it goes to different forms of traditional art in form of music, art, and folk dances. This festival, it is an opportunity for tourists to experience the uniqueness of the Goan heritage. And this brought us to the international segment for today. The first update is with respect to a joint military exercise which is commenced in the UK between India and UK. So the 7th edition of the joint military exercise, Ajeya Warriors of 23, between India and the United Kingdom, it is being conducted at Salisbury Plains, United Kingdom from 27th of April to 11th of May. This exercise, it is a biennial training event with the United Kingdom, which is conducted alternatively in the UK and India. And the last edition of the same, it was conducted in India in the state of Jharkhand in October in the year 2021. Biennial means it happens once in 2 years. And this has brought us to the last segment for today, which is the legal update segment. The first update is coming from the Honorable Apex Court. So the Supreme Court in the case of Messrs. Asian Avenues Private Limited versus Shri Syed Shaukat Hussain, it has reiterated that an action which is instituted under Section 31 of the SRA, the Specific Relief Act, for the purpose of cancellation of an instrument, it is an action in rem. It means that the cancellation of the instrument as per this section, it will bind only the parties to the proceeding, and it is not going to operate universally against everyone. The next update is also coming from the Honorable Apex Court, which has recently held that it is not necessary that the order accepting the closure report, it should be reviewed, recalled, or quashed before carrying out further investigation under Section 173, subsection 8 of the CRPC. The name of this particular case is State versus Hemendra Reddy. And with this, we've come to an end for the TNA for today. In case you want to get access to the free study materials or the TNA slides which were used in this particular video, I would highly encourage all of you to join our Telegram channel. For the same, you may scan the barcode here, or you may click on the link which is given in the description. These are the point of contacts in case you want to get in touch with LawSikho. Also, the quiz which is based on TNA of Saturday, it is made available in the description of this video. I would again highly encourage all of you to go ahead and attempt the same. Thank you for being with us.